Hi there, Colleen Adrian, and I just want to say a little bit to you today about the relationship between highly sensitive people, that would be adults or children, and addiction. And when I say addiction, I mean it could be any addictive activity. It could be the use of substances, or it could be, the use of food or um, video gaming or shopping, any addictive activity basically that you use for self-soothing. And I want to talk about it, especially in relationship to highly sensitive people today, because I work primarily with highly sensitive adults who have highly sensitive children. And I think there's a really good reason why addiction is often linked in with highly sensitive people. And that's um, because being highly sensitive, of course, means that we're um, even more acutely attuned than the average person to what's coming in through our senses. So whether that be sounds or visual stimulus or um, busyness, the pace of what's going on around you, or the energies of people around you. All of those things, highly sensitive people are more sensitive to than the average person, right? And if you've read a little bit about that, you'll know that there's lots out there that suggests to us and shows that it's not only, a difficult thing to live with, it's also a gift, right? But um, there's finding that balance. So enough of that. What I really want to talk about today is that we often see more of a tendency towards addiction in highly sensitive people than folks who aren't highly sensitive. And that is exactly because we live in a fairly harsh world. And that harshness, whether it's the busyness or the intensities of the emotions around you or whatever, it's intensified when you're highly sensitive, right? And so any kind of substance use or a behavior that feels like it distracts you or soothes your nervous system a little bit, even temporarily, feels like some relief, right? So, and I'm going to get to talking about what you can do to start to break the pattern if you're a parent, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So, but first, I just want to mention also that um, again, the parents that I work with, often they've grown up in an environment where their sensitivities maybe weren't noticed or weren't honored or acknowledged or tended to, and maybe their emotions weren't noticed or acknowledged either, right? So they didn't have somebody to attune to them and help them regulate, right? So they've either repressed some of their emotions, they've gotten into the habit, and it's subconscious, of course, of pushing their emotional needs down, or just not even noticing their emotional needs because they're just used to those needs not getting met. And that can be really painful on an emotional and a psychic level. So, when kids get to an age, or they suddenly get to exposure, like a situation in which they have an opportunity to maybe try alcohol, or using some other substance, or a habit, whether it's video gaming or whatever, that distracts them or that alters their nervous system state in some way, that can feel like some relief, right? And again, most of this stuff happens subconsciously, but it's that relief that can end up turning into something, into a little bit of an addiction, if there's not awareness of it. And there's no shame in that, is the first thing that I want to say. The bottom line here is that it takes, if you're a highly sensitive person, it takes a lot of support from a regulated adult for a highly sensitive child to build enough capacity to tolerate their feelings and to stay present with them rather than repressing them or easing them by using something addictive. So again, I've said this, but when you discover something that eases that discomfort or pain, it's very easy to slip into using that on a more regular basis because it helps you to feel better. So what's important about this message and about this information in terms of what you can do differently, it's first of all recognizing that addiction isn't really only about the behavior. I was listening to Dr. Stephen Porges lately, and he was talking about how addictions cause, when we do an addictive behavior, it tends to cause a state shift. And what he means by that, it causes a shift in how we feel in our body and what's going on in our nervous system, basically. So what we're after when we use an activity or a substance to feel better is we're trying to accomplish some kind of a state shift. And the reason I think that information is so helpful is because what that does is opens up the door to say, okay, so what else can I do to elicit a shift in my body to help me feel better, right? To help regulate my nervous system. And if you're parenting and you really want to break the pattern of addiction that maybe has been passed down through a few generations in your family, one of the keys to helping your child minimize their chance of addiction in their life is to really do your best to stay connected to them in a way that helps them feel connected to you, because it's that connection, it's that feeling of connection that, I want to say it's prophylactic, it's preventative in terms of having the potential to prevent addiction. When we are in close connected relationships with people where we feel seen and we feel heard and we feel fully accepted and we feel like we belong, we are far, far less likely to reach for something to help us regulate our nervous system, because we're going to already be getting everything that we need in the relationships that we're in. So, back to what my usual message to you is, and that is just, find every way that you can to connect with yourself, do your own healing work, and connect with your child. It really is, it's healing, it's preventative. It helps, it helps us all. It helps humanity become better. One last little thing here, just learning alternate ways of regulating your nervous system really is the key there. Yeah, learning other ways. So whether that's through connection or whether that's through other activities that you can do to regulate your nervous system. And once again, through connection. So I hope that's been helpful. If you have any questions, pop them in down below. Love to hear from you. Thanks.